Tonight, Broken Hill continues to grapple with the growing New South Wales COVID outbreak and our region in the middle of a workforce boom.
From our 7 Spencer Golf Studios, your nightly news with John Hunt begins now.
Good evening. The Far West COVID outbreak continues to grow, with 28 cases, including 4 in Broken Hill, and warnings tomorrow will be a record day for the region. Despite that, the Premier says freedom may arrive sooner than expected.
Volunteers delivering care packages, with families in Wilcannia reportedly running out of food and unable to leave their homes. The harsh reality of a town where 5% of the population now has COVID-19.
When you say it's a mess out there, it's not. It's a very coordinated whole-of-government approach, including ADF and the Royal Flying Doctors over the weekend.
To 8 p.m. last night, there were 3 new local cases in the Far West, 2 in Broken Hill and 1 in Wilcannia. That number small, but a larger figure foreshadowed tomorrow.
I am aware that the ministry this morning announced 15 more cases in Wilcannia overnight,
where 5 ADF officers are on the ground to be joined by extra police officers.
Their role really is to just make sure that people are supported, but also that the people are compliant with the public health order as well.
Extra exposure times have been added for Broken Hill Woolworths, but almost a week since our first case, there remains only 3 exposure sites in the city.
It depends on really the numbers, who are there, all those sorts of things really that make up the assessment.
But the light at the end of the tunnel is slowly becoming brighter, with the Premier saying her target of 6 million vaccinations by the end of the month could be reached a week earlier than expected.
We'll be able to communicate what additional freedom people might have once they get to full vaccination during September.
Vaccination efforts continue to ramp up in Broken Hill and across the region, a bid to stem the flow of the virus to our most vulnerable and remote. But that's likely to come too late for some. Our local health chief warning it's almost inevitable someone will need hospitalisation.
There will be cases in hospital, I suspect, in the next week or 2.
Lachlan Itter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
The York and Mid-North region is seeing a boom in regional labour, according to the latest state government data. Fears of COVID outbreaks, relocation payments and a major boom in construction, making the regions more appealing.
Escaping to the country, now a reality. South Australia's regional labour workforce has surprisingly risen as more people pack up their city lives and relocate to regional areas.
There's a large number of jobs available, from entry-level role through to skilled and professional roles, and I think that trend is happening nationally as well.
New state government data revealing the regional labour workforce increased by more than 5,000 people last year, a 2% increase, a figure 3 times more than Adelaide. Port Pirie, the York Peninsula, Copper Coast, Clare and Gilbert Valley and Port Wakefield among those experiencing the most growth.
There are more jobs than we've ever seen, and one really important part of COVID is people are staying in the region to fill those jobs, so we're both attracting people and filling them.
Paulette Wine's owner Ali Paulette says they have had some success with school-based apprentices, but finding hospitality staff has been a challenge. She says while COVID has put a strain on the hospitality sector, accommodation shortages and a lack of educational and training facilities isn't helping.
By having places up here that people can work remotely, train up here, and then have affordable accommodation for people to come up, that would be really helpful because people are looking. What we're also seeing is people aren't leaving to go elsewhere. I think we've discovered that our own backyard is a fabulous place to be.
Katrina Musson, 7 Spencer Golf News.
The federal government has announced the export of canola seeds to Pakistan will resume after a 5-year break. The decision comes after government authorities resolve plant health and technical import issues. The deal is expected to generate significant revenue for exporters and support local jobs and businesses. Pakistan imported $426 million worth of canola in 2020, with Australia last exporting $30 million to the growing market in 2016 and 2017. The City of Port Lincoln Council has revealed their 5-year open space strategy for the city. A proposed location for an off-leash dog park has been named, along with a number of new upgrades to existing reserves.
An off-leash dog park at Nelson Square and upgrades to Puckridge Park are part of the Port Lincoln Council's vision for its open spaces over the next 5 years.
It highlights some key goal areas, firstly around sustainable funding for open space projects. So we want to be smart around how we can fund improvements to our open spaces within the City of Port Lincoln.
They've released a draft open space strategy in an effort to improve what's available around the city. The Nelson Square Dog Park, a key project.
We're hopeful that the support will be there to create that at Nelson Square and that we can get cracking on the design and then delivery of that this financial year.
The council looking at ways to sustainably develop these reserves while also looking to add new areas.
When we look at specific reserves, we'll be looking at if there's any surplus land available in reserves, and we'll be looking at what we need to make available for recreation purposes.
Waite Reserve, Harbour View Reserve and Flinders Park among the other local parks in the upgrade pipeline, while refurbishing 2 sporting complexes are also on the table.
We want to develop a master plan for Centenary Oval and Ravendale Oval.
The draft strategy is open for consultation until Thursday, September 9. To have your say, head to the Your Say Port Lincoln website. Dylan Smith, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
There's likely to be a special site waiting for Far West locals when the lockdown ends. With further confirmation, the Menindee Lakes are expected to fill to capacity. The Murray-Darling Basin Association says 700 gigalitres will make its way down the system over coming weeks. It'll be the first time since 2012 the lakes have reached capacity. They're currently sitting at 75% full, with the association saying the system appears to be in good health. Still to come tonight, an RAA Young Drivers programme taking off in our region. And we have all the thrills and spills from this year's wireless show. Welcome back. A Whyalla man will face court after being detected drink driving in Whyalla last week. Police allege the 54-year-old man returned a reading of .147 at an RBT site at Jenkins Avenue just before 11 a.m. on Thursday. The driver of the Holden Ute lost his licence on the spot for 6 months. He will be summoned to appear in court at a later date. More free driving lessons for learners and their supervisors are now available in the Spencer Gulf. The lessons involve 30 minutes of theory and 30 minutes of practice, equipping supervisors to teach good driving practices.
Giving new drivers the keys to success. Free driving lessons are available in Port Pirie and Port Lincoln through the REA's Keys to Drive program. The initiative aims to combat the increased rate of beginner drivers being involved in accidents.
The RAA is keen to do something about that, hence our involvement in the Keys to Drive program, because we want to encourage the next generation of drivers on our roads to be safer drivers.
The program also looking to expand throughout the region.
We would encourage existing driving instructors in Whyalla and Port Augusta to get involved with Keys to Drive. We're really pleased that we've got a new driving instructor in Port Pirie.
I'm very pleased to now become accredited to offer that free lesson. I think it'll be very beneficial to not only the learners but their supervising driver or parent.
More than 23,000 South Australian learner drivers and their supervisors have already taken advantage of the free hour-long lessons. The combined value so far adding up to more than $1 million since they were first offered in 2009.
We sit down and go through some theory and introduce some new techniques, particularly for their supervising or parent drivers.
Edward McCarroll, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Uniting Countries South Australia has recently been recognised as one of the nation's best places to work. Their People and Culture team are celebrating the achievement, also now planning how they can continue their new status into the future.
Recognised as an employer of choice.
We've been recognised as one of Australia's best places to work.
A Work Plus study ranking Uniting Country SA as the 7th best place to work in the 100 people plus category out of 100 businesses and 40 finalists across Australia.
We're super excited about it. We were the only not-for-profit, and we recognise too in South Australia this is a wonderful achievement for regional South Australian businesses.
The organisation prides itself on working together with regional communities, delivering services to some of South Australia's most vulnerable people. Karen says it's also important to them to create a positive workplace culture.
Well, we make a promise to our people when they come to work for us that we will keep them safe, that we'll support them, train them, and most of all I think that we'll have a little bit of fun, and I think that receiving this recognition is a really great demonstration that we do what we say we're going to do.
Staff now looking at what they could achieve in the next 12 months to ensure they remain an employer of choice.
We'll be looking closely at those that ranked from 6 to number 1 and just having a look at what they're doing that perhaps we can take a leaf from and continue to remain a great place to work.
Katrina Musson, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Residents in the Steel City have turned out in droves to attend the 50th Whyalla Show. The event is one of the few remaining agricultural shows in the state to be held, following the cancellation of many others due to COVID restrictions.
If you build it, they will come. Near-perfect weather conditions saw people from far and wide visit the Steel City for the 50th Whyalla Show over the weekend.
We'd like to thank the community for their patience and following all of the rules that we've had to put in place. Everyone was wearing masks, they were social distancing, everything that we asked of them.
From Sideshow Alley, the helicopter rides, to the equestrian events at the Oval, Jubilee Park was buzzing with activity. The Show Society pleased with the attendance with a sold-out Saturday evening session.
It was a great weekend. We've had great numbers through the gate, lots and lots of community support. We're very, very lucky.
This year's show looking a little different, with the majority of events held outside due to the current restrictions. However, the spirits of the attendees remained high, with plenty of people enjoying the sights and sounds of one of the few shows in the state still running this year.
People just needed that little bit of normality and having that family fun environment where everyone can come out, just forget all their worries for a few hours, have that fun.
This year's edition also raised enough money to run next year's show. Planning for the event will begin after a short 2-week break by the Society's volunteers. Mark Zeta, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us. New Indigenous artwork set to line a walking trail near Whyalla. And we have all the highlights and scores from the weekend's local footy leagues. Three communities across the Eyre Peninsula will receive funding from the federal government. The Warrnambool Community Club will receive $25,000 to install playground equipment. Minnipa and District Swimming Club will receive $10,000 to modernise their facilities, while $5,500 has been awarded to the Woodner Play Gym. The funding is part of the National Foundation for Rural and Regional Renewal's Tackling Tough Times Together programme. The Whyalla City Council has commissioned a local Indigenous artist to create artworks for a new First Nations trail near Point Lowly. The artworks are considered by the council as an important contribution to the city's existing collection.
It's a big step for a project to recognise our Indigenous peoples. 4 original artworks have been commissioned for a new First Nations trail to be built in the Steel City.
This Indigenous trail is quite unique. This is entirely only about the Aboriginal people's heritage in the area, or otherwise, First Nations heritage.
Whyalla resident and Bangala woman, Jodie Croft, has been asked by the council to create the original artworks that will be situated along the site. The walk will begin from Douglas Point North and finish at Fitzgerald Bay.
Jodie is a very talented artist and basically all her friends and family as well. And I've been looking for 4 different sites, 4 different symbolism, artworks.
The concept was developed by Paul Mazurek in consultation with Bangala elders and the council. 3 other artists from Jodie's family, Jason, Brianna and Thomas, will also help in creating the artworks.
Some of these sites are actually places which are important to the mythology of the Bangala people and other First Nations people who were in the area.
The paintings will later be on display at the Council Chamber building. Mark Zita, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Turning to sport now, and the race towards finals has heated up across the region. In the SGL, ladder leader Solomon Town recorded a win over West Augusta in a close contest. Here is Edward McCarroll with the weekend footy wrap.
Spring is almost upon us and our region's footy leagues are coming to the pointy end of their season. With final hopes on the line, teams from the Spencer Golf Football League are pulling out all the stops. It was meant to be West Augusta's Sponsors Day, but Solomon Town put on a performance that stole the show. The first 3 quarters were tight, with a lead no more than 2 goals at each change. However, the Cats found something in the last, grinding out a 21-point win. Corey Davey from Solly's taking it to the next level, kicking 6 goals. Solomon Town, the raging hot favourites to win this year's flag. In the other games, Port Augusta's other 2 sides were able to fend off the rest of their Port Pirie counterparts. Central Augusta beating Port 98-74, while South Augusta ran over the top of Prop Risdon, recording a 114-80-point win. Billy Joe Russell starring for South Augusta, kicking an impressive 8 goals. Moving across the Gulf now, and in Whyalla 2 games were blowouts while the other was closer than expected. North Whyalla thumped South Whyalla by 20 goals. Ladder leaders Westies channeling a similar energy, smashing Rapina by 160 points. While Roona Bay also cementing their position in the top 2, beating the reigning premiers Centrals 91-74. Over to Port Lincoln, where it was a bloodbath at Centenary Oval, with Wayback smashing Boston 163-30. Wayback's Murray Kelch kicking 4 goals, proving what an asset he is. In the other game, top of the ladder Marble Range defeated Mallee Park 130-61. And Tasman continued their return to form with a win over Lincoln South. Broken Hills competition is on hold due to the New South Wales COVID lockdown. That's it for this weekend's footy wrap. Tune in tomorrow when we take a look at other sporting results from across the region.
Stay with us after the break. Nominations open for the Good Sport Awards, and we'll have the weather details with Alex Sykes. Hello again. Local sporting clubs are being urged to enter this year's Good Sport Awards. Nominations for the National Awards open Wednesday, August 25, running through to Wednesday, October 6. The awards recognise clubs and people who are passionate about their community. There are a number of categories to enter, including Club of the Year, Volunteer of the Year, and Mental Health Excellence. Visit the Good Sports websites for more details and how to enter. Time now to find out how the weather is shaping up for the rest of the working week. With all the details, it's good evening to Alex Sykes.
Thanks, John, and happy Monday, everyone. Well, those near-perfect conditions that we saw over the weekend at the Whalers show were a thing of the past today. It was a wet and windy one across most of the Gulf. From 3 p.m. today, Whalers showers and winds 14 degrees. Broken Hill reached 15 and showers for Clare, and it reached 10 degrees there. Looking further out across today, Port Lincoln and Coffin Bay were wet and windy and 14 degrees. Adelaide, Kadina and Cleve were all 13. It was a mainly fine day for Cooper Pedy, 17 degrees. Port Pirie had a shower or two and was 15. Port Augusta was 16 degrees. Taking a look at the satellite image now, speckled cloud being pushed over southern and eastern South Australia in cold winds. Behind a front is bringing scattered showers in the odd storm, heaviest in the southeast. Skies are clearer in the north and west as a high pressure ridge moves over the region. Moving on to tomorrow's weather outlook now, and we'll start with the Gulf waters. North to northeasterly winds 10 knots, seas 1 metre, and south to southwesterly swell below 1 metre. A short time ago, there were a number of warnings issued, including a marine wind warning for South Australia, a warning to ship graziers in parts of the Gulf, and the Bureau also issued a warning for frost in parts of the mid-north ranges, with temperatures to get down to as low as -2 degrees tomorrow. Port Lincoln will be cloudy and 14, similar conditions for Cleve 13 and Woodna 15 degrees, while at Port Augusta and Kadina all cloudy and set to reach a max of 15 degrees. Port Pirie morning frost and then cloudy 15, Clare 11 and Broken Hill is set to reach a high of 13 degrees. Taking a look further through the week now, rain for Kadina, Port Lincoln and Adelaide on Wednesday, cloudy everywhere else, temperatures in the mid-teens. Sunny for Cooper Pedy on Thursday, showers for Port Lincoln, partly cloudy everywhere else, and sunny for Broken Hill on Friday, mainly fine across the rest of the Gulf. So John, the rain looks likely to clear by the end of the week. Is it bad? I'm already counting down. Well, that's all the weather from me for tonight. It's back to you.
Thanks for that, Alex. And that's the local news this Monday evening. Thanks for joining us. I'll have updates later, and we will be back tomorrow night at 7. Until then, on behalf of the team, enjoy your evening. Good night.